Ramirez bending himself. Haney let his hand set that jab first. Oh! He took all the way. Tonight. Good shot. Idea. Still basically one punch at a time. Be more.
And also.
And so many people will be rooting. And, you know, I just think he just wants to get.
Me too.
The ropes.
Doors. Antonio, how do you think that he was a He said he doesn't.
I understand that. Right here. For Jack Johnson. Yeah. An Olympics fighter. Good jab. Back.
He did fire back, but it's
in line with Ryan Garcia. Which is Devin Haney. Every time Ramirez comes, Brunati.
Hoya, he was still an emotional guy.
Okay, right. Lifers.
Y allí está, es una izquierda, en una derecha muy explosiva, muy rápida.
Izquierda y puede ser todo, señores. ¡Qué clase de impacto el que acaba de conectar Brian Norman Jr.! Y es todo por la vía del knockout, con esa izquierda demoledora en tierras lejanas.
Your Excellency, I would like to thank you for presenting this fight. Come November, I will knock that boy Devin Haney out in Riyadh Season. I'm happy to meet you, and let's make this thing happen.
A supercard is brewing for Riyadh Season. It is set to be headlined by Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. for the WBO Welterweight Championship. Riyadh Season is starting to put together its next supercard in November, and now they may have their main event set. His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh announced on X that the undefeated KO artist Brian Norman Jr. will defend his WBO welterweight title against former undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney. Norman is currently the #1 welterweight, according to Ring Magazine, while Haney will be fighting for the first time at 147 pounds. Brian Norman Jr. has a record of 28 wins, undefeated, 22 victories by KOs. He's coming off a knockout of the year contender against Jin Sasaki last June 19 in Japan. The 24-year-old from Georgia scored 2 knockdowns in the first round before dropping Sasaki with a various left hook in the fifth round. 2 months earlier, he stopped Derek Cuevas in the third round last March 29. While his opponent, Devin Haney, has a record of 32 wins, undefeated with 15 victories by KOs. A former undisputed lightweight champion and WBC junior welterweight champion, last fought on May 2nd by beating Jose Ramirez by a unanimous decision on a Times Square card. This will be Haney's second fight in the year 2025 after being inactive for a year following his grudge match against Ryan Garcia, which was originally a decision win for Garcia. That was then ruled to a no contest after Garcia tested positive for Ostarine. Al-Sheikh also named several other big fights that could potentially be in the works. Those include Virgil Ortiz versus Jaron Butsenis, Christian Mabili versus Lester Martinez, Moses Itauma versus Martin Bacole, and Andy Cruz versus William Zepeda. The date and venue will be announced at a later date. Man, I'm a bit surprised this fight is actually going to happen. I mean, I thought Bill was bluffing, and he proved a lot of doubters wrong. I'm surprised that Bill, and most of all, his son, Devin Haney, was serious all along. To be honest, I really don't see any shape or form on how Devin can beat Brian Norman Jr. Now I know Haney's style is to hit and to not get hit. Throw some jabs, followed by a series of body shots, throwing combinations, and move the other side to avoid getting hit by a counter of his opponents. Well, I think Haney can do that in the early parts of the fight, but I see Norman will catch him eventually in the middle rounds with a killer left or right hook and knock Haney out. Norman is too big and too strong for Devin Haney. Besides him having a one punch punch packed with authority and can put any opponent to sleep. Also, Norman is a natural welterweight, while Haney is not. Haney is definitely in a huge disadvantage in this fight. He is chinny and doesn't have a strong knockout power like Norman. Haney is pillow-fisted. He's a pure boxer. He loves to outbox his opponents and get a points victory, but the question is, does he have the ability to maintain it in a 12-round fight against a vicious puncher like Norman? Also, Norman is younger than Devin Haney, stronger, bigger than Devin Haney, so we will find that out by the time the fight happens. But like I said, I can see Haney can outlast that style against Norman in a 12-round fight. The only game plan Haney can do is to run the entire fight, just fight for survival. He can't stay in the pocket for long against Norman. If he decides to do that, it will be a huge mistake for him. But I have to give it to Haney. I have to give his props for having the balls to take this kind of fight, most especially the amount of money from Turkey Al Sheikh. Haney probably saw something in Norman that he think he can expose, even though this is not the most highly anticipated matchup on paper. It's still an interesting fight as far as I'm concerned, because this fight will eventually prove either of the following. Either one, Norman will continue his winning ways and knockout winning streak by stopping Haney, and he will show the whole world, the whole boxing world, he's not a one-dimensional fighter, which I think he already did. But still, a lot of people think Norman is a one-dimensional, which I don't believe it. I believe Norman is a complete fighter, and he is a high-level type of fighter. Or either Haney will show his boxing skills, his speed, his footwork, and we'll see if he can expose Norman. So this will be a huge accomplishment for Haney if he will be able to pull it off. He will become a 3-division world champion and shut many doubters wrong, and I am one of those people. Actually, as I mentioned earlier, I can see Haney beating a killer like Norman. Now, I'm not saying I know everything. I might be wrong, but who knows? Anything can happen in boxing, and style make fights. At the end of the day, all I can say is if Haney wins, I'll have to give him his credit. But if Norman wins, I will not be surprised, and I will say, I told you so.